where cypress trees claw at the sky and the bayou's waters run black, a creature of nightmare stalks the night. The rougarou, whispered in terror as rougarou or rougarou, is no mere beast, but a curse made flesh, a werewolf born of French folklore that haunts the Cajun soul. The air turns sour in its presence, thick with the stench of wet fur and blood, and the moon's light seems to tremble where it prowls. By day, the bayou is treacherous, its mists hiding secrets older than the land. But when darkness falls, the rougarou hunts. Its form is a blasphemy, taller than a man, its body a twisted blend of human and wolf, its fur matted with swamp filth, eyes like burning coals pierce the fog, and its jaws lined with fangs, drip with hunger. Some say it was once human, damned by a witch's curse, or a sin too grave, perhaps a failure to observe Lent for 7 years. Others believe it is a spirit, bound to the bayou's heart, feeding on those who stray too far. Its howls split the night, a sound that curdles blood and roots the brave to the spot. The rougarou does not merely kill, it savours. Hunters vanish, their rifles found bent, their bones scattered in the mud. Children who wander from home are never seen again, though their screams echo in the reeds. Some survivors speak of claw marks on their doors, too deep for any beast, or of eyes watching from the water's edge, waiting for the moment to strike. The creature is said to stalk the sinful, but none are spared its wrath. The tales are grim. A fisherman, ignoring warnings, was found torn apart, his boat clawed to splinters. A woman, fleeing through the swamp, swore the rougarou spoke her name, its voice a growl from the grave. To ward it off, locals place 13 pennies at their doors or hang gree charms, but the beast is cunning. It mimics voices, luring victims with cries of loved ones, or leaves false tracks to draw the curious to their doom. Acadiana's folk know the rougarou's hunger. They avoid the bayou's depths after dusk, their prayers laced with fear. If you tread those cursed swamps, where the air hums with menace and the moss seems to whisper, move silently. Ignore the howls, the eyes in the dark, the footsteps too heavy for man. Do not look back, for the rougarou is no mere legend. It is the bayou's wrath, its predator, a beast of claw and curse that hunts the living, its hunger eternal under the Louisiana moon's unyielding gaze. To an encounter that defies rational explanation. Retired police officer Philip Spencer ventured onto the moor that morning, his camera in hand, hoping to capture the stark beauty of the Yorkshire landscape. He would capture something far more extraordinary, something that would haunt him for the rest of his days. As Spencer walked, a strange unease settled over him, a prickling sensation at the back of his neck. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. A low hum vibrated through the ground, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself. And then he saw it, a craft of impossible design, hovering silently above the moor, its metallic surface gleaming in the pale morning light. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, a shape that defied earthly engineering. Terror seized him, a primal fear that gripped his heart and froze his blood. He raised his camera, his hands trembling, and snapped a series of photographs, each click of the shutter a desperate attempt to document the impossible. The craft remained motionless, its silent presence radiating an otherworldly aura. Spencer, paralysed by fear, could only watch as a figure emerged from the craft, a being unlike any human he had ever encountered. Tall and slender, with skin the colour of polished silver, the figure moved with an unnatural grace. Its eyes, large and black, seemed to pierce through him, reading his very thoughts. A wave of nausea washed over him, a dizzying sensation that threatened to overwhelm him. He stumbled backward, his camera falling to the ground, the click of the shutter replaced by the frantic beat of his own heart. The figure glided towards him, its movements silent and fluid. Spencer wanted to scream, to run, but his body refused to obey. He was trapped, frozen in place by an unseen force. The being approached, its black eyes fixed on him, and then it spoke. A voice, not heard with the ears, but felt deep within his mind. A voice that resonated with an ancient power. The voice spoke of things beyond human comprehension, of dimensions unseen, of realities beyond the veil of our perception. In the shadowy corners of rural America, there exists a chilling legend, whispered among locals, a tale of grotesque, humanoid creatures with swollen, bulbous heads that glisten like pale melons in the moonlight. Known as melon heads, these eerie beings are said to dwell in abandoned buildings, dense forests, and remote tunnels, lurking just beyond the reach of civilization. The origins of the melon heads vary depending on the region. In Ohio, they are believed to be the result of cruel medical experiments conducted on children in a remote asylum. These children, subjected to horrifying treatments, developed abnormally large skulls and misshapen bodies. When the asylum burned down, the survivors fled into the woods, where they lived in secrecy, their rage and deformities growing over time. In Connecticut, the legend speaks of a deranged family or clan, born from generations of inbreeding, hiding in the woods and preying on anyone who ventured too close. Michigan tells a similar story, where they haunt the eerie felt mansion, their glowing eyes peering out from the darkness. Encounters with the melonheads are rare, but terrifying. They are described as small humanoid figures, with wiry limbs and heads grotesquely oversized for their frail bodies. Their eyes are dark and empty, their faces twisted, with a mix of childlike innocence and feral aggression. Travellers who have stumbled into their territory often report being followed by strange rustling sounds, low growls, or glimpses of movement just beyond the tree line. Some claim the melonheads attack in groups, using crude weapons or their bare hands to ambush their victims, leaving only scraps of clothing and blood-streaked earth behind. To this day, the legend of the melonheads persists, their presence a warning to those who dare to wander too far from the safety of the main roads. Locals advise against travelling alone at night, especially near the abandoned structures or dense woods where these creatures are said to dwell. For if you hear the faint, childlike giggle in the darkness, or catch a glimpse of a bulbous head disappearing into the shadows, you may already be too late, because the melonheads are watching, waiting, and hungry. In 1916, Julia Petter, a young woman from Chicago, died tragically in childbirth, buried in Mount Carmel Cemetery in her wedding dress. Her grief-stricken mother never accepted her death, plagued by dreams where Julia appeared, whispering, "I am still alive." Years passed, but the dreams did not stop. The mother, now desperate, demanded her daughter's body be exhumed. The authorities, reluctant yet curious, agreed. 6 years after Julia's burial, the casket was lifted from the earth and unsealed. What they found inside stilled their breath. Julia's body lay as if she'd been buried yesterday, her skin smooth, her features untouched by time, her dark hair curled delicately around her face, her bridal gown unspoiled by decay. It was as if she had simply fallen into a deep, eternal sleep. But the child she had died bringing into the world, the tiny corpse in her arms had rotted away to nothing but bone. The arm that had held it too was darkened, withered, as if death had taken only what it was owed. Word of the uncorrupted bride spread, and soon visitors flocked to her grave, leaving flowers, whispering prayers, seeking blessings. Some claim she still walks the cemetery at night, a ghostly figure in a white gown, her face frozen in that final, sorrowful beauty. And if you ever stand by her tombstone, feeling the air grow still, the night unusually silent, listen carefully. You might hear a faint whispered breath behind you. Endlessly, her mournful cry, "Ay, mis hijos, oh my children," echoing across the water. But beware, for La Llorona is not just a ghost of sorrow, she is a ghost of vengeance. It is said she lures the unwary to the water's edge, mistaking them for her children, only to drag them to a watery grave. Her pale, veiled figure is said to appear near rivers, her eyes hollow, and her face contorted with eternal anguish. To this day, the legend of La Llorona lingers, a warning to stay away from dark waters at night. For if you hear her cries, you might just see her figure in the mist and feel her icy hands pulling you under. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Highgate Cemetery legends of the 20th century, the Highgate vampire. The cemetery, known for its Gothic architecture and crumbling tombstones, had always been a place of mystery, but it was the rumours that swirled around it during this time that would send a chill through the city. It began with strange sightings. People reported seeing a tall, shadowy figure with piercing red eyes lurking among the tombs, moving with unnatural speed and disappearing into the darkness. A local woman claimed to have seen a man with pale, lifeless skin standing by a crypt, his eyes fixed on her with an intensity that sent her running in fear. Others spoke of an overwhelming sense of dread that would wash over them whenever they entered the cemetery at night, as if something or someone was watching from the shadows. The stories quickly escalated, and soon rumours spread of a vampire living in the heart of Highgate Cemetery. Witnesses claimed to have seen the vampire rise from its grave, its eyes glowing with hunger, as it stalked the grounds in search of blood. Some even reported hearing strange sounds in the night, howls, whispers, and the unmistakable sound of footsteps in the graveyard silence. The sensation reached its peak when a group of amateur vampire hunters, led by David Farron and Sean Manchester, set out to confront the creature. They claimed to have performed rituals to exorcise the vampire, but the truth remained elusive. Many who ventured into the cemetery never returned, and those who did spoke only of an overwhelming darkness that seemed to close in around them. To this day, Highgate Cemetery remains a place of eerie quiet and suspicion. The legend of the Highgate vampire continues to haunt the minds of those who dare to visit, and the truth behind the sightings remains buried in the shadows, where no one dares to look too closely. In the fetid depths of Hockomock Swamp, where Massachusetts mire swallows light and hope, and ancient malice festers, the Wampanoag call them Pukwudgies, creatures of nightmare, born from the swamp's black heart. No taller than 3 feet, these human-like fiends are no mere tricksters. They are harbingers of dread, their presence a stain on the soul of the land. To enter their domain is to court a terror that lingers long after the swamp's mists clear. They are small, but their forms are wrong, gaunt, with skin like damp ash, stretched taut over bones too sharp piercing the fog, and their mouths twist into grins that promise cruelty. Tangled hair writhes like vines, and their fingers, tipped with claws, twitch with eager malice. Some say they carry tiny bows, their arrows tipped with poison that burns the spirit before the body. Others whisper of their magic, a dark art that bends the swamp to their will, summoning mists or lights to lure the unwary. By day, the Hockomock is treacherous, its waters thick with decay. But at night, when the moon is smothered by clouds, the Pukwudgies hunt. Their giggles, high jagged like breaking glass, echo through the reeds, chilling the blood. They are not content to watch. They stalk, driving travellers in circles until panic sets in. Some who wander too far are found days later, trembling, babbling of small shadows that whispered their secrets. Others vanish, their screams swallowed by the swamp, leaving only footprints that end in nowhere. The tales are grim. A hunter, led astray by flickering lights, fell into a sinkhole. His body never recovered. A child, chasing a strange giggle, returned mute, her eyes wide with horrors she could not name. Pukwudgies are said to despise intruders, punishing those who tread too heavily on their land. They push victims from cliffs, drag them into bogs, or worse, curse them with a lingering despair that haunts their dreams. Some claim the creatures can mimic voices, calling out as loved ones to draw you deeper into the mire. The Wampanoag warn of their wrath. Offerings of tobacco or small trinkets are left at the swamp's edge, pleas for safe passage, but the Pukwudgies are capricious. A gift may spare you, or it may mark you as prey. The swamp itself seems to guard them. Trees shift, paths vanish, and the air grows heavy with a watchfulness no prayer can lift. If you must cross Hockomock's cursed expanse, tread lightly and speak softly. Ignore the lights that dance in the fog, the voices that call your name. Do not follow the giggles, for they lead only to despair. The Pukwudgies are no mere legend. They are the swamp's keepers, its vengeance, its eternal spite. In their domain, every step is a gamble, every shadow a threat, and the Hockomock never forgets those who disturb its restless dead. Exuding an aura of dread that seemed to grip their very souls. Suddenly, the creature began to move, gliding toward them with an unnatural, almost mechanical precision. Panic took over, and the group fled, stumbling and screaming as they tore through the woods, desperate to escape the nightmare. When they finally burst into the safety of their homes, their faces were pale, their voices trembling as they recounted what they had seen. Word of the encounter spread quickly, and soon the Flatwoods monster became a sensation, drawing investigators, reporters, and skeptics from across the country. Some speculated it was an alien being, perhaps the occupant of the crashed object they'd seen in the sky. Others believed it was a phantom, an omen of something dark and malevolent. Regardless of the theories, one thing was certain: those who saw it were forever changed. In the days that followed, residents reported strange phenomena: unexplained lights flickering in the night sky, animals behaving erratically, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. The foul odour lingered in the woods for weeks, as if the creature had left a piece of itself behind. Despite exhaustive searches, no trace of the monster or the supposed crash site was ever found, leaving the incident shrouded in mystery. Even now, decades later, the legend of the Flatwoods monster endures. Locals speak of it in hushed tones, warning visitors not to venture into the woods alone. They say that on certain nights, when the sky is clear and the stars burn bright, you can still feel waiting, hidden among the trees. Whether it was an alien, a spectre, or something far darker, the Flatwoods Monster remains one of the most chilling and unexplained encounters in American history. A reminder that some things lurking in the dark are beyond human comprehension. In the chilling lore of baseball history, there is one story whispered among fans that never loses its grip: the curse of the Bambino. The legend began in 1919 when the Boston Red Sox, champions of the World Series, made a grave mistake that would doom them for nearly a century. Seeking funds, the team's owner, Harry Frazee, sold their star player, Babe Ruth, to their bitter rivals, the New York Yankees. Known as the Bambino, Ruth was not only Boston's greatest asset, but a force that seemed blessed, touched by an otherworldly power. But this sale was no ordinary transaction. It was a betrayal, an offence to the very spirit of victory. Soon after, Boston's golden age faded. For the next 86 years, as Babe Ruth's star rose with the Yankees, the Red Sox were plagued with failure after failure, each season bringing cruel heartbreak. Fans began to believe they were cursed, haunted by Ruth's ghost, vengeful and unrelenting. They whispered that he had cursed the team, binding them to an endless cycle of defeat, an eternal punishment for the betrayal. The curse of the Bambino was born, and the city felt the shadow of dread every time their team reached the brink of victory, only to be torn down as if by some unseen, malicious hand. Terrifyingly, the curse seemed to manifest in bizarre ways. Balls veered off course at the last second. Players fumbled as if gripped by an invisible force. Even the stadium lights flickered ominously during critical moments. Fans watched with growing unease, knowing something dark loomed over their team. Game after game, year after year, hope turned to horror, then despair, as Boston's beloved team fell to seemingly supernatural misfortune. But in 2004, the impossible happened. The Red Sox, against all odds, won the World Series, breaking the curse. The city rejoiced, yet some fans remained haunted. They wondered, did they truly break the curse, or merely awaken it? In the quiet, mist-covered village of Woolpit, Suffolk, there is a tale so strange, so unsettling, that it has echoed through the centuries, whispered in hushed tones by those who dare remember. The story is that of the Green Children, 2 children with skin the colour of freshly sprouted leaves, who appeared mysteriously in the village during the 12th century, their origins shrouded in darkness. The legend begins one fateful day when the villagers discovered 2 children, brother and sister, standing near one of the village's wolf pits, a deep, dark hole from which the village took its name. The children were unlike any the villagers had seen before. Their skin was a sickly green, their eyes wide with fear, and their clothes were strange, made of a fabric that none could recognize. They spoke in a language no one understood, their words a guttural foreign sound that only deepened the mystery. The villagers, both curious and fearful, took the children in, feeding them the only food they knew, bread and beans, but the children refused, their faces contorting with disgust at the food. It was only when the villagers offered them raw beans that the children ate, their hunger insatiable. Days turned to weeks, and slowly the children's skin began to lose its unnatural hue, fading from green to a more earthly tone. But the strange, eerie aura surrounding told a story so unbelievable that it has haunted Woolpit ever since. The children, she said, came from a place called St. Martin's Land, a realm that existed beyond the earthly world, a land where everything was green and the sun never shone. She spoke of strange beings who lived there, beings that looked like people, but were not quite human. She told of a world where the sky was always twilight, and where she and her brother had wandered before they mysteriously found themselves in the pit. No one knows for certain what happened to the green children. The girl, now assimilated into the village, grew up and eventually married, but the strange origin of the children was never fully explained. Some say they came from a parallel dimension, while others whisper of an underground kingdom, or perhaps they were lost souls, cast adrift from some other, darker world. To this day, the tale of the green children of Woolpit lingers like a shadow over the village. The villagers of Woolpit still speak in hushed tones of the strange visitors, of the green-skinned children who arrived one day, never to reveal the truth of where they came from, and perhaps, more chillingly, where they went. Deep in the shadowed forests of Bear Creek, North Carolina, lies a patch of barren earth known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. This ominous circle, located near Harper's Crossroads, is a chilling 40-foot ring where no vegetation grows and no animal dares linger. Locals claim it's cursed, a place haunted by the devil himself, who treads this ground nightly in a sinister ritual. For centuries, stories have circulated about the eerie clearing. People say that when midnight falls, the devil rises from the underworld, pacing the circle with dark intent, plotting his next act of evil. His heavy, unseen footsteps scorch the earth, leaving it lifeless, unable to support even the smallest blade of grass. No matter how much time passes, or how often people try to replant it, nothing grows in the devil's circle. Brave souls who have attempted to camp within the ring tell of inexplicable occurrences. They report feelings of dread so intense, it's as if a dark presence stands beside them, watching. Items left inside the circle are mysteriously found outside by morning, as if some unseen force cast them aside, angry at their intrusion. Others claim to hear faint whispers in the night, growing louder until they're forced to flee, their minds unravelling from the chilling sensation of being stalked by something unseen. Locals warn that nothing stays in the Devil's Tramping Ground without consequence. Those who have dared to linger too long, mocking the legend, have reported strange misfortunes afterward. Accidents, illnesses, and haunting nightmares of a dark figure pacing circles around them, his fiery eyes fixed upon their very soul. The Devil's Tramping Ground remains, a barren, haunted scar in the woods of North Carolina. It is a place that repels life, an eternal reminder of an ancient evil lurking beneath the surface. And so, the warning endures. If you find yourself near Bear Creek, steer clear of the circle, for the devil still paces there, leaving his mark on the earth, and perhaps on any soul foolish enough to cross his path. Tonight, we take a quiet journey into the eerie legend of the Chupacabra. Let the mystery of the goat sucker guide you into a peaceful slumber as we unravel this chilling tale. In the remote, shadowed corners of the Americas, whispers carry a name: the Chupacabra. Born from terror and blood, this cryptid first slithered into legend on the stormy nights of Puerto Rico. Farmers would wake to a nightmare, their once lively goats drained of life, eyes glassy, throats pierced by two perfect holes. The blood was gone, as if sucked dry by some unholy predator. They say the name, Chupacabra, stems from its insidious habits. Chupa, meaning to suck, and cabra, meaning goat. And so it was called the goat sucker, a beast with an insatiable bodies of livestock lay scattered, many wondered what kind of creature could commit such carnage. Described as reptilian or dog-like, the chupacabra is said to move with an unnatural grace, its skin scaly, cold to the touch, with glowing red eyes that burn through the night like molten embers. It creeps silently through the fields, avoiding human eyes, until it strikes, leaving nothing but empty carcasses and fear in its wake. Reports of its presence spread beyond Puerto Rico, with sightings in Mexico, South America, and even the southern United States. In each case, the telltale signs were the same: drained livestock, puncture wounds, and an eerie, lingering silence that chilled the blood of those left behind. Some claimed to see it with their own eyes, a monstrous figure crouching low to the ground, waiting for the moment to pounce. Its movements were quick, almost too fast to follow, vanishing into the darkness as quickly as it appeared. Legends tell that the chupacabra was a cursed experiment gone wrong, a mutated creature that escaped from the depths of a secret lab, its body forever twisted into something both alien and grotesque. Others believe it is something far older, a demonic force that has existed for centuries